If you think about the customer experience and you're obsessed with it and you're focused on reviews, referrals, and return of customers, that is where you're going to grow big time. And if you're just not focused on it, you're okay with having an average service or not really just relentless about it, you're probably not meant to be an entrepreneur. All right, we're going to talk about the 5 keys to being a successful entrepreneur. So my name is Trayton Hughes. I have been the former CEO of a company called Station Entertainment, former CXO of a company called Helpware. Helpware had thousands of employees. I've also advised and been on a number of advisory boards and worked with a lot of startup entrepreneurs. And I've also failed myself and had successes myself. And so one of the common questions I get from people thinking about being an entrepreneur or just starting is, what are the 5 keys, or what are the keys to being a successful entrepreneur? 5 main things that I see as what would set you apart and potentially lead you to success versus the people that often don't succeed, because 90% of startups actually fail. And it's a staggering stat. And I do believe that a lot of it has to do with the person. The first thing to being a successful entrepreneur is you need to be okay with being a salesperson and a marketer of yourself. Meaning you need to be okay putting out content. You need to be okay getting your word out and not necessarily being behind the scenes and being too shy. Most of the people that I see think that if they have this great product or service, that people are going to flock to it and they're going to buy it and that it's going to just spread on its own. But the reality is that that doesn't happen. There's about 2 years to 3 years where the founders, the starters of those companies, need to be able to go out there and sell and get the word out, which means that they need to be able to go out there and sell and get the word out, which means they need to be comfortable going on social media. They need to be comfortable selling and outreaching and doing all these different things. And I'll be honest, a lot of founders that I talk to or startup people that especially ones that have not been successful are not comfortable doing that, and they don't want to do that, and they want to hire people to do that. And I could just pretty much guarantee that if you're not comfortable doing those things, you're not going to be successful. You need to be okay with it. Yes, it's uncomfortable. No one likes to go out there and sell and reach out to people and do outreach and knock on doors and call people. No one likes to be able on their social medias and posting all the time and putting videos on there. But the people that do, the ones that can push against that fear, those are the ones that tend to have the most success. So that's number 1. Number 2, they need to be obsessed. At the end of the day, if you're not obsessed with what you're doing and building, it's going to fall apart too easily. It's so hard and so difficult to be a startup entrepreneur, to be a founder. And things can very easily, get in your way. And if you're not obsessed with what you're doing and obsessed with doing those things on a daily basis and obsessed with your mission, there's just too many things that are going to fall apart, and it's going to be too easy to just give up and either go back to a job or just stay with your job or find another company to start. It just happens too often. And so you look at some of the greats, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, these people, Jeff Bezos, they were obsessed with what they did. And obsession is not a bad thing if you can harness it in the right ways and lead it to a really strong place. So obsession has to be there. And if you're just kind of on the fence about your business or thinking about it and you don't think you can push past that, I can tell you right now, it's not going to be enough to get you there, because there are going to be some really emotional and really tough things that you're going to have to go through. So number 3 is that you need to care about your customers more than you care about making money. Now, at the end of the day, I know a lot of entrepreneurs that are out there just trying to make money, and it makes sense. We see the riches that all these successful people have had, but what we forget about is that it takes them a long time to get there, and you're not just going to instantly get rich. In fact, most of the times I work with founders and see founders, for their first couple of years, they're making $0. Sometimes they're going into debt, very, very little money. Yes, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later, they could become very rich. And often they do if they can persevere past that. But they're not going to persevere past that if they're only thinking about money. When you're only thinking about money, your customers are not on the same page as you. They want to be served. And so when you're thinking about your customers and really building a really successful and happy customer, that is where you're going to find luck, because you're going to be able to get their feedback. And you're always going to be thinking, is this going to make their life better? Not, is this going to make me more money? When you think about it from a selfish perspective, the world understands that. The people understand that you're thinking about how can I make money off of this, versus when you're thinking about how can I go help these customers? How can I go make their lives better? How can I go make things easier for them? That is a difference. And so look at your motivations. If you're like, I want to be rich and I want to have this great lifestyle, if that's what you're saying, take a second look at it. If you're saying, I want to go empower these people to have better lives and I'm going to help them with this product or service, that is probably the winning message that you need to have in order to be successful. Number 4, you need to have a long-term vision and plan. Truthfully, a lot of people think that they're just going to figure it out along the way, that they're going to just be able to see where it goes and hopefully it goes well. In reality, that doesn't really work out. Think about climbing a mountain. If you just started at the bottom and you weren't really sure where you were going and you're just in these weeds and there's all these trees around you and you can't really see, what are the chances that you're actually going to successfully know the path to get up the top of that mountain? Not great. You could probably just meander forever, maybe even go in circles, maybe even go backwards. But if you have that map in front of you, which of course the map can change, the destination can change, there's different ways sometimes to get up to that mountain. But if you have that map, have that end goal and that target, that's when you do well. And so the successful entrepreneurs have this like 5-year roadmap of where they're trying to get. Not successful ones are just, I'm going to create this business and hope for the best. Usually that just isn't a formula. And so planning goes a lot further than people think. And so my recommendation is actually to think in 26-year increments, like a marathon. What can this business be in 26 years? What would it look like? How many employees? What's the revenue? What's my mission? And then you start working backwards. What would it take to get there? The roadmaps along the way, the little milestones along the way, like a train track, every little step that you need to do. First, I need to hire these people. And then I need to go talk to this many customers. Then I need to market it. Then I need to get just et cetera, et cetera. About that roadmap of what's going to lead you to that end goal. And when you can work like that, you're going to really have something successful that you know where to go. And I think a lot of times too, entrepreneurs just get lost along the way where they're like, I'm just doing so much work that they just can't see in front of them because they're just so busy with whacking down the weeds right in front of them. Have that roadmap. Last thing, the number 5 thing, probably the most important, relentlessness about the experience. If you're just obsessed and relentless about the experience of what the customers are going to feel, and you're only focused on the employees and the customers and the experience overall, and you're not going to cater to just an average experience and you're going to make sure everything's excellent, well then guess what? People end up really happy. They refer you to their friends. They leave you reviews. They come back and buy more. They send you referrals. All this stuff comes together so that a few years into your business, all you have is just referrals, reviews, happy customers, and you're so known for your amazing experience that people start coming to you. Think about these Michelin star restaurants. They started with a really set of food and service, and eventually people start to catch on. And then all of a sudden you have so much word of mouth that Michelin gets a word of it. And then they start to review you, and then they say, these guys are great. And then all of a sudden, with all that great experience, now everyone wants to come in and see you, and you can charge these top prices. And so think about like Amazon. The whole focus is customer experience. They grew into a behemoth. When you think about the customer experience and you're obsessed with it and you're focused on reviews, referrals, and return of customers, that is where you're going to grow big time. And if you're just not focused on it, you're okay with having an average service or not really just relentless about it, you're probably not meant to be an entrepreneur. But when you're obsessed with it and you really want to make sure that they're just loving it and the experience is not compromised, that is when you're going to really see success. And so this is the stuff that I can see for myself that has worked really well. But all the different startup entrepreneurs that I've studied and all the different ones that I've worked with, and I've advised a number of them that have done well and some that have not done well. These are the characteristics that I would bet on any day to do well. And if you have these 5, I think you're going to really set yourself up for success to be in the multi-millions easily within a few years if you do it in the right ways. Let me know if this topic was interesting. Let me know if you have other topics you want to see videos on. At this stage, I'm just trying to help entrepreneurs and take those leaps. And I'm trying to teach you from the things that maybe I learned the hard way on and maybe had some failures along the way. But let me know what you think. Comment below. Appreciate you. Thanks.